Hello there, and it is Friday. Oh, thank goodness, right? We made it through the week. If we haven't met before, my name is Julie Hirschberg. I am the owner, founder of Reactive Physical Therapy and Wellness here in the Los Angeles area. I'm a neurologic PT, and I join you all a couple times a week just to share what we've been reading and doing and learning here at Reactive. And most particularly this week, it's been about dystonia. And I know I shared a little bit earlier this week about dystonia in a recent research article. And today I want to share my absolute favorite research article on dystonia. It's from 2009, but it's really what inspired me for our programs in dystonia. And it's just a really great article. So I'm going to share you bits and pieces. I'll share some shots from the actual article. And if you're not already on our newsletter, you should join us. If you're a healthcare provider, reactiveeducation.com, you can join us. And if you're a person with a neurologic disorder, reactivept.com, join our newsletter. I'll send out these videos, and I will also send out links to the articles from this week because they've been great. And again, we're talking about dystonia because our mini course that Chelsea Richardson and I are doing is coming out next month. It's about a month away. It's November 10th. We're doing a live update to our dystonia courses. Is really beyond the basics of dystonia. We're going to spend 2 hours going into assessment and treatment of all types of dystonia: cervical dystonia, focal dystonia, runner's dystonia, musician's dystonia. We're going to provide a framework that we use to help drive our assessment and treatment of dystonia. So, of course, I'm back in the literature. I'm updating my literature review, but going back to my favorite articles. So I got to share this one, and let me grab it here. So this is from also some of my favorite therapists of all time. So it's called Focal Hand Dystonia, Effectiveness of a Home Program of Fitness and Learning-Based Sensory Motor and Memory Training. Nancy Beal is the lead author. She was at UCSF when she did this study, and is one of the first people that I learned dystonia treatment from. I went to a weekend course that she put on along with Allison McKenzie. She's at Chapman University, also just a really wonderful person, PT and researcher. And then Eve Archer is the other physical therapist on this study. So just a really great group. And let me actually pull up the articles from the Journal of Hand Therapy in 2009. So what did they do? So let me grab, I've got a couple of pictures here for you. So let me grab, I think it's always helpful to kind of see how big this is, right? So just like the literature in functional neurologic disorders, the literature dystonia, it's not huge studies. This is not as common as Parkinson's disease or a stroke or anything like that. So you're going to see that studies are small. This was started with a group of 18 hands. Some people have bilateral dystonia, so not necessarily 18 people, but 18 hands. And they did phases. So they did some that were into a phase 1 and some that were into a phase 2, so they could do a delay and look at a comparison. And in the study, it's called HOME, but it was a real supervised home therapy and in-person intervention where they did 5 times a week for 2 weeks. So it was intensive. And this is something that we see repeatedly in the literature for neurologic disorders. The intensity matters. That's one of our neuroplasticity principles. Intensity matters. So we can see that along, I guess that's the left-hand side there. And then we can see how this was compared to a group that was just in the home, doing a home program. And they had one person drop out. I believe they actually mentioned this person their car got broken into in the parking lot and they dropped out of it. And then they had people cross over. So I think that's helpful to see. This is a small study, but let me show you. It's also a very diverse group of people with dystonia. So I think this is the description. Yeah. So the description of subjects, also very important to look at when we're looking at a research article, to kind of think about, well, does this even relate to the people that I'm treating? And what you can see, I know it's teeny tiny on here. I don't even know that I can see it unless I was like up here really close with you all. This was a very diverse group. So there were people with musicians dystonia in this group. There were people with writer's cramp. I'm just totally going off of my memory. Oh, there was a translator, keyboard programmer. This is all the most common types of focal dystonia that we see, and dystonia in the hand. So also, this was not a cervical dystonia study. This is not a runner's dystonia study, but I will say, I think these principles really matter. So this gives us the breakdown of the group and the different types of dystonia, really important when we're looking at research studies. And then I wanted to show you what they measure. So let me grab that. Here's the outcomes that they measured. And honestly, in looking at this study and learning from Nancy Beals, she taught me a lot of really going outside of the box in what we assess. So obviously, function was very important. Did they get back to playing their musical instruments, to typing on the keyboard, all really important things. And then they looked at these key measures. So sensory, including graphesthesia and stereognosis. This was something that back when I learned this, I was not testing this in my clients with dystonia. They looked at strength, particularly the lumbricals and grip strength, and then motor control. So their actual fine motor control that was very specific to their task, including their task specific performance. And they did this at baseline, immediately after the treatment, and 6 months after the treatment. I always think and applaud folks that can do that follow-up as well, because even a lot of clients will ask us, well, great, I'll get better, but will it stick? Will it last? And that's really important. Like, we want to know, is it going to last for 6 months or beyond? So they did look at those outcomes. And now I think we probably could expand those, right? So we might expand, and if you know us, we kind of like to look at that full picture, the whole person pie chart in dystonia. And I might also include autonomic function. So I would have included that as an outcome measure. But I'll tell you, in 2009, that's not where I was at all. I was definitely looking at sensory motor pieces, but not autonomic. Lifestyle would be another key piece that I would look at, and psychosocial, all those components of the pie. So motor control, sensory, autonomic, psychosocial, lifestyle, and then obviously the physical impairment, which is picked up in this study. So those are the outcomes that they use. So let me now bring you to let me show you the intervention and what it's based on. You're not going to be able to read this, so apologize there. It's in teeny tiny print. I will highly recommend you get this article. It is not available free full text. So if you go to ResearchGate, is that right? It sounded funny coming out of my mouth, but I think it's ResearchGate. That's where you can contact the authors directly and ask for a copy of the article. So if you don't have access through your institution or through somebody else, I can't just download an article and send it out freely to everyone. It's not mine to do that, but it's certainly the authors can share their article. So this is table 2. When I started with dystonia, I lived by table 2. In fact, I took table 2 and I made it into a handout for myself, a handout for other therapists, and a handout for patients because I loved it so much. And this is what I think is so brilliant about a well-done research article, is that they will describe in depth what they did. And in particular, in this case, because this was a very new approach to dystonia, what they did and why. Thank you. to these authors, and I've lived by this research article for obviously a very long time, since I opened Reactive. So we're going on 12 years here. So I want to highlight a few key pieces about what they incorporated into this intensive treatment for focal hand dystonia. And again, highly recommend that you get the article. Table 2 is fantastic, and it goes on and on. Table 2 spans a couple of pages, but it starts with something very key, and we know this even more now after the latest research, is that it starts with a positive expectation of improvement or enhanced expectancies. This is part of the optimal theory. This is what we know enhances motor control. And if we're looking at a disorder of motor control, which dystonia is, then we want to do all of the things that we can to drive changes in motor control and motor learning. Enhanced expectancies is one of them. That's at the very, very top of the intervention. As they go down, they what gets outlined is very much like a graded motor imagery type of protocol, imagining movements, very, very powerful in dystonia, mental imagery, improving sensory discrimination, so through proprioception, stereognosis, graphesthesia. This is when we started doing grids on the hand and drawing on the hand and dominoes and reading Braille. All of those are the types of activities that they did in this research study. By the way, it's one of the really great things about this research study is that they didn't just do one thing. So it also makes it harder, right? Harder to know what was like the best ingredient of this. But this is much more real life. In reality, in the clinic, I don't just go, well, we're just going to do this motor control exercise with anybody. It's so person specific, and it incorporates a lot of pieces. And again, that's why I love Table 2 in this article, is that it goes through all of those pieces, the sensory discrimination, how to inhibit abnormal movements, how to give positive feedback of movement performance, how to grade activity, getting back to their actual instrument, or if they were writing or typing, and all of those things. And it goes through step by step how to do this learning-based sensory motor training. And that's what they did over the course of 2 weeks, 5 times a week, several hours a day of practice. A lot of practice. This is what we know about neuroplasticity and dystonia, is it takes a lot of practice. They also did what was just really beautiful here. I'll stop sharing all these words behind us. What was really great is they incorporated lifestyle pieces. So aerobic exercise, 30 to 45 minutes, 5 days a week. Healthy eating, so just a balanced diet of fruit, vegetables, protein, and carbohydrates. Sleep, my favorite thing, another great lifestyle intervention that they did. So they incorporated all of this into the 2-week program. Now, if you know us and our integrated programs, you know this is like exactly what we do in a very individualized way based on what people need, but we'll incorporate those lifestyle pieces right into treatment, and it's such an important part of the response. So you're probably wondering how these folks did. So I want to bring up these figures here, and I think I'm going to get figure 3 first. Yes. Okay, so I think you can see that we have 2 different colors. So we have the immediately post-intervention, and then 6 months post is the darker color. And we only have 2 pieces for this one. We've got their function and then their target task function. And what you're missing along the side is the percent of subjects that improved. What's really cool is that you can actually see that over the 6-month time, even more subjects improved. And let me just get the total amount. So 70% of subjects improved on all of the variables. And let's see, that improvement ranged from 50% to 89%. that's really great improvement in dystonia. And that was significant, meaning it met statistical significance, that's so hard to say, for things of sensory discrimination also improved, target-specific performance, and fine motor speed. If you have hand dystonia, those are really 3 very big things. So that was the initial one. Isn't this exciting? They had some really great results. Okay, so now I'm going to grab figure 4 from here and let me describe what is happening in this one. So figure 4 along the side, it's cut off, but this is the score percentage. And then we can see the different groups represented, where that home group is they just did the practice at home. So this is at 6 months post-treatment, 85% of the subjects achieved scores similar to healthy historic subjects on their independence. And this was, because they were of different, they, had different tasks. So some were musicians, some were writers, one was a translator. This was 85% of them actually those subjects got to 85%, at least 85% of their function, of their target task. Also, again, a really great outcome for hand dystonia. And then finally, I'm going to get to figure 5. So again, along the side, you can see at this time, percent score. And then you can see pre-treatment, immediate post-treatment, and 6 months post-treatment. And what they were really looking at here is comparing folks based on how much they said they actually did their routine at home. Because they did not spend all day, every day at the clinic. They learned these activities and then did them at home. And basically what they found is those that did more at home had greater gains. And that was continuing into the 6 month mark. So really, really great. And I don't think that's very surprising that the people that were able to practice more, when practice and intensity is a key parameter of neuroplasticity, the people that practiced more were able to have better results. And it continued on for 6 months. That's really promising to me here, I'll stop sharing that for a moment. For a 2-week intensive program to not only have improvements and get back to a much, much higher level of functioning, that then you would actually take that improvement and continue to get better without therapy. To me, that is my ultimate goal. Can I empower a person, provide them enough education and tools to take what we do together and just carry on and continue to have improvement? That is really a lifelong goal of therapy, in my opinion. So there you have it. I'm going to just share the name of that article again. Our newsletter list, I'll send out the link. I'll send out the videos that we did this week. But again, it was called Focal Hand Dystonia, Effectiveness of a Home Program of Fitness and Learning-Based Sensory, Motor, and Memory Training. And again, Nancy Beal, Eve Archer, Allison McKenzie are the authors. It's from 2009. It's an oldie, but a goodie, and it's my favorite article in dystonia. A big piece is because of the outcomes, but really because they describe in detail exactly what they did. And you can, as a healthcare provider, literally take that and apply it. That is literally where we started with our practice in dystonia, and we've continued to refine it and refine it and refine it and kind of put this into our pie chart framework. and teach it to the world. We've taught weekend courses on dystonia. We've done CSM talks on dystonia. Our very first course that we ever put out there was myself and Ali Elder. It was like the Beyond the Basics course on dystonia. We're updating it. So we're doing our mini course coming up. I'll stop sharing here. Our mini course on dystonia is coming up on November 10th. If you're a part of our Brain Bites crew, by the way, I see y'all here, and it's free. It's part of your Brain Bites membership. But if you're not, this is a great way to join our crew. We're going to be live November 10th. It's going to be 2 hours together. We'll record it so you can have lifetime access to it. But if you are treating dystonia, if you still have questions about dystonia, if you want to have great outcomes with dystonia, join us for our mini course. We have it's on our early bird enrollment through next week, through October 20th. It's only $177. It's a really awesome course, and we hope to see you there. In the meantime, I'm going to be sharing what I'm reading, what I'm learning as I'm updating the literature on dystonia as well, and I'll be sharing some of my favorite articles like this one from 2009. It's so awesome. So thanks so much for just letting me in, for being part of our awesome community here every week. And again, if you're not on our newsletter, join us at Reactive Education or reactivept.com. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And I hope to see you in our dystonia course. Thanks so much and have a great day.